morning and welcome to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force monthly press conference. Welcome to members of the media and to those viewing us online. A quick introduction of our table. Today we have Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mrs. Sarah Porter, Mr. Vungard, the Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for corporate services and strategic operations, Dr. Mashama Sili. Also at the table we have Superintendent Stephen Victrin, who is the superintendent in charge of the Northern Division, Mr. Eldon Henry, the Assistant Superintendent of Police in charge of the Northern Division. Excuse me, sorry, Mr. Victrin is in charge of the Southern Division. Yes. Mr. Lucius Small, who is the head of the Special Services Unit, Mr. Siobhan Matthew, who is the head of the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit. To begin, I'll call on Dr. Mashama Sili, who will be giving us the latest crime statistics.
Good morning, everyone. For the period January 2025 to October 2025, a total of 13,009 crimes were reported across the islands. 3 policing divisions distributed as follows: Northern Division 2,935 cases, Central Division 5,519 cases, Southern Division 4,555 cases. In comparison, the same period in 2024 recorded 15,369 crimes overall. The breakdown is as follows.
No, that's good.
The breakdown is as follows. For 2024, Northern Division 3,195 cases, Central Division 6,415 cases, Southern Division 5,759 cases. So there was a decline of 2,360 cases, one approximate 18% overall decrease in crime reported island-wide. Major crime categories: burglary in 2024, 510, 2025, 315, a 38% decrease. Robberies, 198 in 2024, 134 in 2025, a 32% decline. Drug offenses, 2024, 296 cases, 2025, 241 cases, a 19% decrease. Firearm offenses in 2024, 307 cases, 2025, 264 cases, a decline of 14%. Stealing a motor vehicle in 2024, 75 cases, 2025, 40 cases, a 47% decline. Stealing from person in 2024, 228 cases, 2025, 211 cases, a 7% decline. Sexual offenses in 2024, 169 cases, and in 2025, 128 cases, a 24% decline. Homicides for the period January 1st, 2025 to October 29, 2025, a total of 62 homicides were recorded island-wide, representing a 7% decrease compared to 67 homicides reported during the corresponding period in 2024. The majority of homicides during the review period were firearm-related, accounting for approximately 82% of all classified cases. Stabbing was the second most common method, involved in 5 incidents, followed by 4 cases involving choppings and 2 involving blunt force trauma. Firearm offenses. As of October 29, 2025, a total of 98 firearms have been recovered. Of these, 89 are classified as lethal and 90 as lethal, and 8 as less lethal. The breakdown is as follows: 70 pistols, 9 rifles, 5 shotguns, 5 revolvers, 1 submachine gun, 1 flare gun, 1 air rifle, 1 air pistol, 2 BB guns, 3 imitation guns. Total rounds seized: live rounds 4,856 and non-live rounds 19. The breakdown is as follows: 9mm 3,385 rounds, .45 caliber 337 rounds, .40 caliber 160 rounds, 5.56 rounds, 535, .22 caliber 198 rounds, .357 2 rounds, .380 caliber 227 rounds, .25 caliber 11 rounds, 7.62 29 rounds, 12 gauge 17 rounds. Between January and October 2025, a total of 119 firearm-related components or accessories were recovered. These items suggest efforts to enhance firearm functionality, range, and concealability. The breakdown is as follows: magazines 84, selector switches 2, drums 9, extended magazines 14, conversion of autosere 2, slide 1, trigger housing 1, AR-15 bolt 1, upper receiver 1, lower receiver 1, forearm 1, charging handle 1, boot and grip 1. Seizure data from January to September 2025 also highlights key points of entry for illicit firearms, ammunition, and components. The majority of recoveries occurred inland, with ports being the secondary route of entry. Firearms inland 67, port 20. Less lethal firearms inland 5, port 0. Live ammunition inland 1,113, port 3,771. Non-live ammunition inland 19, port 0. Less lethal ammunition 2,489 inland, port 0. Accessory component parts inland 63, port 20. Offensive weapons 0 inland and port, and maritime 0 for all categories. For the period January to October 2025, a total of 134 robberies were reported, compared to 198 during the same period in 2024. Drug seizures from January to October 2029 are as follows: cannabis 105,653 kilograms, cannabis plants 8,345 plants, seedlings 30, cannabis resin 1,214.26 kilograms, cocaine 585.227 kilograms, crack 0, ecstasy 0.378 kilograms, crystal meth 1.045 kilograms. Between January and October 29, 2025, a total of 10 fatal traffic accidents were recorded, compared to 20 for the same period in 2024, reflecting a 50% decrease. The continued reduction in traffic fatalities, despite an increase in overall collisions, may be attributed to improved emergency response and increased public safety messaging. The monthly distribution of fatal accidents for 2025 are as follows: January 2, February 0, March 2, April 0, May 3, June 1, July 1, August 1, September 0, October 2. The victims included both motorists and pedestrians, with locations ranging from the major highways to rural roadways. Several of the fatal accidents involved motorcycles, pickups, omnibuses, SUVs, and in one case, an off-road buggy. From January to October 2025, a total of 1,591 traffic accidents were recorded across St. Lucia. Serious damage collisions in 2025, 189, 2024, 241. A difference of 52, a decrease of 22%. Minor damage collisions in 2024, 1,615, and in 2025, 1,395, a decrease of 14% or 220 cases or collisions. So key advisory points are as follows: kindly avoid drinking and driving, use designated drivers or a licensed transport. Comply with speed limits, especially near event venues and the populated areas. And pedestrians are urged to wear visible clothing at night and cross at designated areas. Motorcyclists must wear approved helmets and ensure their bikes are roadworthy. Expect increased traffic controls and checkpoints as we head into the Christmas season in the Castries, Grizzly, and Beaufort areas. Traffic tickets, January 1st to October 2025, there were 13,790 tickets issued in comparison to 5,711 for the same period in 2024. So there was a 140% increase. For the year, January 1st to the 30th of September 2025, there was a total of 484 search warrants executed by various departments. Whereas in 2025, the same period, 620 warrants were executed island-wide, an increase of 28%. So overall, there is a decrease in crime, 18%, and the recovery of 98 firearms. Traffic fatalities decreased, but we are asking drivers to be safe so that it can decrease further. Every life saved is important. Drug trafficking, especially cocaine, remains a major threat, and we will continue our efforts in crime fighting to keep St. Lucia as safe as possible. Thank you.
I'll now call on Superintendent Stephen Victorin, who will present a report on the happenings in the 7th Division.
Good morning. Within the 7th Division, we recorded 3 serious incidents, the most recent being a fatal collision which happened on Saturday, the 25th of October 2025, about 10:08 a.m. along the VA4 Library Highway within close proximity to the police Marine base. The hypothesis from the investigators as to how that collision occurred, it is that 3 minibuses were involved in that collision, one of them bearing registration number TX1541, the other M1233, and the third M326. The information is that M326 veered right, colliding with TX1541, and further went on to collide with M326. One 4-year-old, Ricky Samuel of Laho, Labrie, suffered serious head injury from that collision. He was transported to the St. Jude Hospital. He was later pronounced dead. Investigation into that matter is ongoing. In fact, the driver of M326, who had been unresponsive for a while, regained consciousness about 10 a.m. yesterday. So the police, hopefully today, should be interviewing him to provide further guidance towards the investigation. The second incident involved the recovery or seizure of a component part of a firearm and a quantity of what is believed to be cannabis. On Friday, the 17th October 2025, officers from the Criminal Investigations Department, V4, along with support from the Tactical Response Unit, executed a search warrant at the residence of Victor Shalry at Grace V4. There, they discovered and seized one empty Glock magazine, along with a quantity of seeds, which is believed to be of cannabis. Victor Shalry, a 43-year-old male, along with his brother, Kirsten Johnson, a 23-year-old, were both arrested. The two were later charged, that is on Saturday, 18th October, for the offenses of possession of component part of a firearm and possession of controlled drugs. They were both taken before the 2nd District Court at V4. Both individuals have now posted bail. In Soufrière, on Saturday, the 18th October 2025, a number of departments and units executed a search warrant at Soufrière. In fact, executed an operation at Soufrière where a number of search warrants were executed on premises within Barons Drive and Market Road, Soufrière. At the end of the operation, 75 vehicles were stopped and checked. 10 tickets were issued for various traffic violations. 4 vehicles were impounded. 476 grams of dried plant material, which is believed to be cannabis, was also seized. 6 individuals were arrested. 1 individual was later charged, that being Maxwell's Snack, a 22-year-old of Beach Street, Soufrière, for the offenses of possession of controlled drugs and possession of controlled drugs with the intent to supply. On Monday, the 20th October 2025, Maxwell's Snack was brought before the 2nd District Court where he was arraigned. Bail was set at the following conditions. On the charge of possession of controlled drugs, $1,000 cash or suitable surety. On the charge of possession of controlled drugs with the intent to supply, $1,500 cash. He is also to report to the Soufrière Police Station on Saturdays between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Bellevue in V4 was one of the host communities for Journée Creole 2025. The incident the event was held without any undesirable incidents, meaning criminal, nor any road traffic collisions. Preparing for the execution of the event at Bellevue presented one particular challenge, that being traffic management within the area due to the peculiar circumstance at Bellevue being that traffic would have to flow through the center of the event grounds. For that reason, police within the Southern Division ensured that there was a robust traffic management plan in place, which was executed, which ensured that there was no traffic collision throughout the event, and of course, no congestion, to allow patrons to come in, enjoy the event, and exit in a timely manner. That is it for the Southern Division.
I'm now calling Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. Eldon Henry, to give us a report on the Northern Division.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Eldon Henry, Assistant Superintendent of Police in the Northern Division, with responsibility for Grosley, Barbano, and Rodney. I have recently taken command of the policing responsibilities for these 3 stations, and I have the following to report. I'm going to start first with the Journée Creole activities, which was held on the playing field in François and Barbano. This event was incident-free. There were no criminal reports emanating from that event. And I would like to thank the members of the public for their cooperation with the policing plan for traffic management. Like with Bellevue, the François area was a very difficult area to police in terms of traffic management. But we put a plan in place, and the members of the public assisted by adhering to the directions of the police, which saw the success of this event. So much so that at the end of the event, the entire area was cleared within 45 minutes. So I would like once again to thank the members of the public for their cooperation with the police in that regard. From the Grosley Police Station, as we all know, every weekend we have Grosley Friday night, and we have continued to provide policing for that area. Over the last weekend, the Grosley Police conducted traffic checks and stops within the vicinity of Grosley and the Grosley Friday night activity, which resulted in the stop of 16 vehicles, 2 of which were searched, 5 were impounded. During that process, 7 tickets were issued, 3 persons were arrested, and several others were cautioned due to their behavior. So I would like to commend the police officers from the Grosley Police Station for their efforts during this activity. I think the event that is of forefront of everybody's mind is the incident that occurred on the 28th of October 2025 in Gara Babuno. The police received a report about 10:50 p.m. of a lifeless body on the road. The police responded and confirmed that report. And on their arrival, they realized that there was a male individual with apparent gunshot wounds about the body laying in the middle of the road. The individual was later pronounced dead by a medical practitioner, and this individual has since been identified as 26-year-old Kenrel O'Flaherty, who is a British national who resides in Anguilla. I can see at this point that his relatives have been notified of the incident, and arrangements have been made with the investigators. That matter has been since handed over to the Major Crimes Unit for further investigation. This latest incident, we do not have much information yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to again appeal to the members of the public for anyone who has information on this incident to provide that information to the police, whether anonymously via 555, or you can call the Major Crime Unit at 456-3754 or 456-3756. This is the report from the Grosley, Rodney Bay, and Barbano stations. Thank you.
Henry, Mr. Siobhan Matthew, the inspector in charge of the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit, will now present a report.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Siobhan Matthew. I'm the inspector with responsibility for the Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit of the RSLPF. The Gangs, Narcotics and Firearms Unit, we have two divisions, one in the Southern Division and one up here in the Northern Division. Our focus is basically on conducting operations, firearms, drugs, joint operations. For the year thus far, I could safely say we have executed over 260 search warrants. We've taken in over 150 joint operations, which has led to a number of firearms and ammunition and illicit drugs that over the past 2 weeks, well, 3 weeks, you would have noticed that there's been an increase in the number of arrests at our ports involving port workers. What we notice as law enforcement, we have uncovered an organized effort involving a small number of seaport employees who have been facilitating the importation and the clearing of illicit drugs and firearms through our ports. And notwithstanding the fact that they're the ones supposed to be the ones who are supposed to be protecting our ports, but what we've noticed, they've been facilitating those clearance of those barrels. We all know that St. Lucia, we have very porous borders, and the main port of entry has been used as the, how should I say it, as the area where those firearms and drugs are coming in. We've been conducting investigations, which has led to the discovery of a number of firearms. One of those big discoveries was almost 17 firearms and over 3,000 rounds of ammunition. We've also uncovered a number of barrels which were being cleared by employees of the port, and those individuals have been arrested, and those matters are now before the court. We are working closely with other law enforcement agencies to try to curb that situation at our ports, and we are hoping that the citizenry would assist us with information as it relates to that organized effort at Port Castries.
I'll call on the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Vangard, to... Okay, Inspector Lucia Small of the Special Services Unit will present a report.
Good morning to all. My name is Lucia Small, Inspector in charge of the Special Services Unit. The Special Services Unit continue to do the patrols in the various hotspots throughout the length of breadth of this country. We continue to assist all the departments and all the stations we'll call upon to do so. For the past 2 months, we have been engaging in in-house training, firearms training. Also had public order training, what we call riot training. So far, from August 11th until October 11th, we have trained 90 police officers, including SSU persons and other persons from other stations and departments. The training will continue in the next 2 weeks, where we're going to train another set of police officers in public order. During the month of September, to be precise, September 28th, 2025, 4 members of the Special Services Unit left St. Lucia to provide assistance in Commonwealth of Dominica. Upon arrival in Dominica, the police officers were engaged with other persons from the RSS member state in conducting traffic checks, doing searches, and during one of the operations, one St. Lucian national was arrested under investigations for homicide in Dominica. Upon return to the island, a report was forwarded to me to the office of the Commissioner of Police. And I have to say, during this time, the Commissioner of Police did endorse for their persons to go to Dominica to provide this assistance. I would like to thank the members of the public so far. Whilst we are out there doing our patrols, keep on giving us the information and make sure that wherever we are, that we are in a safe place. We'll continue to do our best to patrol the highways, the byways of St. Lucia. And again, I would say, as we enter the festive season, I know it will not be easy with so many activities ahead. We will continue to patrol to the length of breadth of this country and to keep St. Lucia in a safe place. I thank you.
Inspector Small. Police Commissioner Verngard will now present a statement.
Let me just say good morning to the media. Also say good morning to the citizenry of St. Lucia. Let me also thank my High Command by first introducing my Permanent Secretary, who's to my left, Mrs. Sarah Cotter. I'm happy that she could have joined us this morning. I want to again thank every member of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force throughout this period under review from January 1st to this date. The work they have done is phenomenal. It is tremendous, and I must say that the current 18% decrease in crime in general is due mainly to their hard work. The police commissioner's job is one of planning and policy. It's also one that calls for the management of the organization. The operational responsibility of the Commissioner of Police is quite limited in the current construct of the Constitution and the Police Act. And I must say that I'm a proud Commissioner of Police, that over the respective period, that through my command, I've been able to improve esprit de corps in the Royal St. Lucia Police in general, and of course, even in some of the communities. Over the period under review, we have seen some landmark decreases. For example, Dr. Seeley made the announcement that we have intercepted 4,857 live rounds of ammunition, the highest rounds intercepted in the history of record keeping in St. Lucia. And that is not for the respective period, but for any year over record keeping. We also currently have intercepted 98 firearms. That number too, over the respective period, it's the largest haul that we've had in the history of record keeping in St. Lucia. So my men and women in the organization, they seem to be doing something which is correct and which is right. And that is why I think up to last week, I took some time to commend some of my officers. I commended formally Mr. Siobhan Matthew for his stunning performance under the period of review. Because without the efforts of patriots like Mr. Matthew, we would not see that kind of interception and decline in certain aspects of policing in St. Lucia. But Mr. Matthew is only one of several officers that needs to be commended. And of course, in the last week in November, we plan to have a small parade among the police during Police Week to make a few of these commendations. Let me also say that the High Command also have other senior officers that would traditionally state their areas of management. So we have Mr. Philip, who is actually currently at a meeting with the French, and we have Mr. Wayne Shalry, who's representing me in a NAMLOC meeting this morning. I also have some good news for the people of St. Lucia and also the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I think 1 month ago, we did a strategic meeting with the French, where the French spoke about the general partnership between them and us. And that meeting has culminated in the donation of a new K9 to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. So on the 26th of February, no, the 26th of January 2026, we will be seeing the handing over of a new K9. That K9 handing over, it will be framed by further training for some of the handlers in November and December, and also the formation of a formal protocol for the handling of the K9. I've also made a bid for a formal form of transportation through the Office of the Permanent Secretary to facilitate the general transportation of the K9. And also, we have set aside a budget, and we are starting to do the construction of a new K9 facility at Latop at the police training school. This is just a number of things that are currently happening within the administrative process in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We have had last week a meeting among the RSS territories. And you know, this meeting was a proud moment for me. I was able to gauge the performance of the RSLPF in respect to its general administration, the resources that we have, both human and otherwise, and the general landscape compared to all the other countries in the territory. The other countries in the territory are all doing well. But in my opinion, St. Lucia is set aside in regards to how the police as an organization is shaping up statistics versus statistics, both qualitatively and quantitatively. So it was a happy moment for me. I hope at least between now and the next RSS meeting, we could have jumped a few more hurdles where, again, we could come and report some of the advances that we have made. We are set apart from these other agencies in regards to our radar and our radar control, our CCTV, our police management system, and of course the general numbers respective to the various populations of officers in the various countries. And I think St. Lucia is on the pathway, and specifically RSLPF is on the pathway to success. 18% in decrease in crime in any country over a respective period is a serious decrease. Generally, we see decreases staggering about 5 to 10% in either direction, but I will say that St. Lucia is moving in the correct direction when it comes to crime control. I promise the people of St. Lucia that we will be very, very transparent with them. And I've reported on a number of cold cases that we have refreshed over that period under review. I think the last press conference, we spoke of the issue with Shakad and Daniel, and also the Kimberly DeLeo matter. And during that time, I mentioned that we had taken some non-intimate samples from a number of officers at the station during the Shaka Daniel matter. To date, we have contracted a forensic pathologist to again walk through the scenario which transpired as part of the investigative process. So next week, we will be trying to conduct that. We have also taken some additional samples from other people that is now with the lab, and we continue to keep this matter as a very active matter for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We are going to again try to revive the issue of Police Week. I don't think we had the opportunity to successfully deliver it last year, so we want to make a big and bold statement this year with Police Week. We are conducting a competition, a football competition in 2 zones, and we will try to do that every year, but to rotate the competition. The tournament will be as such that it will be going on for about 1 week, 7 days in the evening, both in Richford and in the Marigot, on the Marigot playing field. We also have lined up for that Police Week, of course, some of the generic events, for example, the church service. We also have a shooting competition, and then after that shooting competition, we expect some of our better qualifying persons to be drafted in a regional competition in Guyana, Nisili. That's where they have in the competition. Run and stop. I think that is the name of the competition. I want to participate in that event. I think I have some skills. I want to show up for me to bring the trophy to St. Lucia. Mr. Small, not you alone that have the skills. So these are some of the things that are really at the top of my agenda. We have tomorrow a small graduation ceremony, one of many graduations that we've had for this year. Tomorrow we're graduating 50 motorcycle riders who participate in the motorcycle course, and also we are graduating 90 officers from the other stations and SSU in the Public Order Act training. I think a number of other organizations took place in that. I think Borderley took place, and we'll be seeing that graduation tomorrow. So I invite you all to cover the graduation. Of course, on the 31st of January, this is when we expect to end our current cohort of police officers. So we are going to be putting out next week an advertisement for another 80 police recruits, because we are committed to building human capacity within the organization for us to deal with some of the issues in crime. This set of recruits we have now, it is my expectation that they will join some of the stations, because we will be using that apparatus to fulfill 3 of the pilot projects that we have commissioned. We've already done some of the paperwork on it. So we are trying something in the Dennery, Richford, and Babono Station, where officers can work their 8 hours and then go home. So we will try to build that capacity starting January, end of January, February this year. I would like the opportunity to now answer all the questions that the media have for me. But I think we can stick to 2 questions from each media house, just to be fair to one another. I know some media houses like to position the questions particularly, but let us stick to 2 questions, so at least we could cover the entire landscape of media houses here today. Miss
Please remember to state your name and your station, your media house, before you pose your question. Karim?
Karim Nelson, St. Lucia Times. Question either for Siobhan or Commissioner. Inspector Siobhan, sorry. I know you touched on it, but the operations at the port, we've seen these investigations or charges span the post office, the Castries port, the Viewfort port. The charges have also spanned Slasper workers, porters, port police, administration, and even civilians. That shows that there are charges at all levels. I know you chose to use the word organization in your statement, but given these facts, based on your observations and investigations, are you prepared to say that there is a network facilitating drug trafficking into this country, you or Commissioner?
I think both of us could handle this question, but I'll take the first part, Siobhan. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force has taken the posture where we are going to be following the assets and money of a few targets. So we've started with 5 cases in tandem with the Financial Intelligence Investigative Authority, and we will be making certain applications after certain investigations to enact the forfeiture of assets legislation and try to remove some of the funds that are lucratively circulating, supporting crime and criminal activity. I am one of the higher paid public servants in St. Lucia, and it's been a difficult time for me when it comes to assets and resources. And I see persons are utilizing tens and $20,000 to purchase, for example, arms and ammunition. So the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Mr. Matthew, will look at these people and we will deal with them against the forfeiture of assets legislation. Right now we are going after the money. So before this year ends, some of the persons will be confronted. I needed to say that. So that means, yes, there's an organized crime syndicate or syndicates operating within the shores of St. Lucia that operates on a transnational basis. And the Royal St. Lucia Police Force don't find it funny. So we will be going after these persons. You've seen a little of it, where we've been able to break down some of these people's influences on the port. We'll continue to do that and do a lot more in the upcoming months. Siobhan?
Well, to answer your question, based on what we've been seeing throughout these investigations, is that everything is facilitated from our port, even the courier services. Only yesterday, again, there was an interception at the port and also at one of the courier services. So you see a lot of those drugs and firearms coming in through those avenues, and I could safely say that it's not just facilitated by the citizen. It has to be facilitated by persons who work at those locations. All right? A barrel containing drugs will not leave the port by just a civilian walking into the port and placing that barrel on his or her shoulder and walking out of the port with it. All right? He or she must get help from somebody who works on that port. It could be the forklift operator, it could be a red cap, it could be anybody. It could be the janitor who works at the port. Somebody has to facilitate. And the janitor would not do it on her own. She would have to get help from probably somebody who drives a vehicle, who has a vehicle who works on that port. So it's a well-oiled machine, and we as members of the RSLPF, and we're trying to do our best to see how much we could curb it, because it's causing a problem in our country as it relates to gun violence and drug sales. All right, we all see what those firearms do, and people don't kill people, firearms do. So this is one of our major issues that we have in our country, and we're trying our best to curb those situations.
My second and final question, referring to the correspondence sent from police on October 29th relating to the $1.3 million drug bust. The accused was a port police officer, and correct me anywhere if I'm wrong here. That person generally falls under the command or the superintendence of the police commissioner. For you, is there any concern that some in the rank and file are being lured in by criminal elements? Commissioner.
The port police officers, they have their own chief. I think Mr. Kennedy Francis is the current chief of the port police officers. But of course, from time to time, my office is required to give them the oath. But the entire supervision and management is under that of Mr. Kennedy Francis. Mr. Kennedy Francis is a very astute officer. Actually, he trained me, and he's one of my mentors. So I have no doubt that generally he would have stringent control over the organization. So what I've done for him, and also some of the other ancillary services, is to provide vettings for these services to cover the entire staff. So as we speak, we are making 75 opportunities for vetting for the fire service. We are also making a number of openings for the Port Police Authority. We have also done several of the new recruits for the Castries City Council, and we are also doing the Bodley Correctional Facility. Within the next 3 months, within the next 3 weeks, we will be achieving an additional 250 clearances. These are officers from us and some of the ancillary services that will be doing the polygraph over this period. This is to improve capacity in a way that we know we have the right people on the job, persons who are honest and persons who can continue working with us. I must say that over the last 12 months, well, 13 months now, it's only 13 months since I've been on the job. 13 months. Over the last 13 months, we were able to achieve the vetting of more than 50% of the officers in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. This is apart from some of the officers who already had the clearance. Because, for example, for the senior corps, the clearance is required for upward mobility. However, we have not enjoyed the amount of funds to do a full polygraph for the organization. But now, before February next year, we would have covered the entire organization, so we have better people working with the RSLPF. The persons who have found to be an issue, they will be dealt with disciplinarily, and some of them will go home. That's the answer to the question.
Questions?
Can anybody hear me? Okay, hi. Hello. Let's do this again. Chelsea Austin, Choice Media. My question, it pertains to traffic, so if anybody can answer, just help me out here. If St. Lucia were to put a demerit system in place for drivers, would the police be involved in designing it? We know there are traffic laws, but yet still sometimes they are not adhered to. Is it that there is a lax in the traffic department when it comes to addressing reckless drivers, or what's going on? How are those matters handled?
That's a long question, so I think Dr. Seeley will have to handle that one. Yeah. Ms. Seeley?
I can only respond to half of the question. In terms of the demerit system, I know that there were meetings in the past and a system was discussed with police and the Ministry of Infrastructure. And then there was a lull in the discussion because there was some equipment that needed to be procured in order to implement it effectively.
Anyone else? Reggie? Oh, sorry, Dale.
Good morning, Commissioner, and good morning to your table. I don't come to press conferences very often, so I crave your indulgence. I'm probably going to ask you questions on 3 matters because we're producing stories on them. So, my colleagues, at any point, if you want me to stop, please just guide me, okay? Commissioner, a video surfaced on the 20th of September. In this video, it showed police officers, what appeared to be police officers, coming out of a vehicle and firing at a motorcycle. What appeared to be. Have you seen that video?
Yes, I have seen the video, yes.
Can you tell us whether the video is authentic or not?
That matter with the video is currently under investigation. There's not much I can say in that regard based on the investigative angle that we are taking.
Thank you so much, sir. So I will be sure not to ask you any questions relating to your investigation. My questions are, would these officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force
The matter is currently under investigation.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. That is a very good answer, but it's a cop-out. Were these officers, were these people depicted in the video officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force? Simple question is yes or no.
The answer to that question is that the matter is under investigation. And I must invite...
One second.
I must invite...
Was the vehicle driven by these people in that video a police-registered vehicle? Would you like me to give you the plate?
I must invite the media to understand the complexity in authenticating information via social media and otherwise. Okay? Now, I do not want to say much because in the course of an investigation, we try not to give out the advantages or the disadvantage in regards to our investigative process. And for me to go and comment any further in regards to that can cause a lot of things. We all know that we have hackers, ethical and otherwise, that can do a lot of IT damage. We have fake news. We have all kind of challenges when it comes to video material. So I would rather allow the professionals to do what they're doing, present a file to me, and then I could even come at your studio and give you all the details.
So what is the Royal St. Lucia Police Force policy as it relates to pursuing two-wheel vehicles, especially under live interdiction circumstances? I'll make the question easier. That's fine. In February 19th, 2024, there was an incident in Grosley where a motorcyclist, he did not stop at one of your checkpoints, and the police officer opened fire on him. You were very clear, Commissioner, that that sort of behavior would not be accepted and went against standard operating procedure, 19th of February. So my question to you is, what is the standard operating procedure when your men try to stop, especially vehicles on two wheels, in roadblocks?
Let me take a minute to go back to the last question. I am happy right now in the amount of funds that the police have invested. The police and by extension the government of St. Lucia have invested in the body cams. I think we've spent, PS, if I give a wrong figure you could correct me, a little over $800,000 in a body cam system, which actually, when the photo data comes from that system, there's little that we have to do in regards to authentication, because it would be video footage that is, in a want of words, lawfully captured. And we are doing that pilot on the dash cam and the body cam, again, to make sure that accountability for police officers is at the highest level. So it's not a situation where we are going to try to shield anybody who acts contrary to the police rules. However, when we get information, we have to validate it through the right process. So it brings me now to the second question. There are protocols in place for how we intercept vehicles. You want to handle that question, Eldon? The interception of motor vehicles and so forth? Mr. Henry is some sort of an expert in at that level.
Thank you, Commissioner. The laws and procedures guiding police officers on dealing with situations are pretty clear. When a police checkpoint has been set up, the members of the public are required to adhere to the signals and signs of the police officers. In any event when somebody breaches that protocol, the police officers would make an assessment, because the breach of that protocol can cause the lives of persons in that checkpoint, whether it be police officers or members of the public, to be at risk. And the law clearly states that anytime someone has placed the life of anyone, not just the police officer, anyone in imminent danger, the police officers have the right to use the force that is necessary in the circumstances to deal with that situation.
So I'd like to ask Mr. Small, Grand Ravine Dennery, September 20th, did your police officers have a checkpoint anytime during that day in that community?
The matter is presently under investigations. I will not comment further to it.
Does have a checkpoint at all, yes or no?
The matter is under investigation.
It's a matter of public record. Did you have a checkpoint there that day or not? I'm not asking you about the circumstances and how many shots were fired. Did your guys have a checkpoint that day?
Mr. Elliott, again, I said the matter is ongoing. Investigations will continue. Thank you.
As it relates to the shooting of Sherwin Malcolm Augustine on the 20th of September, give the public an update as to that double homicide that day.
Ms. Elliott, we are not in possession of material to answer that question at this moment. However, if you contact me afterwards, I can surely furnish you with that information. With the officer actually in charge of crime is in an AMLOC meeting, unfortunately. So we may not be able to touch that matter at all.
Let me just come back to my very first question. Did you see that video?
Which one are you talking about, the videos?
20th, 5:59 p.m., Grand Ravine Dennery. A video that shows what appears to be an unmarked police vehicle, 4 police officers coming out, a motorcycle and a rider going in the opposite direction, police vehicle suddenly stopping, and firearms being discharged in the direction of the motorcyclist.
Yeah, I saw that video, yes.
What's your take on that video?
Well, to be honest with you, I will not comment on that video on the investigative stage.
Is that a fake video?
Let me just tell you how it works, right? The Commissioner of Police is the ultimate adjudicator in any matter of discipline. That simply means that the cases of discipline has to be brought to me, and I am the final adjudicator on these cases. So there's a process. Now, if I, as Commissioner, commence on an ongoing investigation, it would generally prejudice the adjudicative process. Now, I know somebody of your status, right? You're aware of that. So I don't think that I will do anything or say anything to compromise a judgment that will be given by me as the officer responsible for the adjudicating process.
Commissioner, explain to St. Lucians how 40 days after this incident, you have never addressed it, you've had a press conference, and in this press conference you come here with a cop-out. 40 days later, you've never addressed this in the interest of St. Lucians, in the interest of the person, if it's not a fake video, who may have been possibly shot at by your men.
I think I've reported earlier by indicating last year we had 15,300 odd cases of crime. We also had this year 13,009 offenses. My office as commissioner is responsible for every single one of these matters. I have been consistent as the Commissioner of Police to have a press conference on every last Thursday in the month, where I indulge the media on all matters that affect the people of St. Lucia. My press conference on the last occasion was open to any question from the media along the lines of the 13,000 reports that have been made. So it's unfair to expect that we would be forensic to report on every single one of these events. Unfortunately, you were not there, and some of the other media houses did not sought clarity on the matter. But I'm here to tell you now that the matter is under investigation. My responsibility as the Commissioner of Police is one of discipline and adjudication, and consequently, I cannot in any way prejudice the course of that investigation by commenting on it in its investigative stages.
To you on that subject is, you've been police commissioner for the last 13 months. Tell us, in these 13 months, 3 disciplinary actions you as commissioner has taken against any of your men, and also any of these incidents that you reported to the public.
Well, I can tell you that under my command, we have had 1 or 2 persons being sent home through my office. It is not something that I would celebrate, because as an institution, we want to build capacity in an organization and not break it. Even, for example, persons who are sent to prison. We are now in the era not of penal servitude, not of penance, not of incarceration, but one of rehabilitation. And that is to suggest that if we are going to consider rehabilitation for persons who have committed crimes, pardon them, give them an opportunity, train them. When we have persons who work with us, we should take solace, all right, in the apparatus of the disciplinary process rather than celebrate it. I'm not going to come here as a commissioner of police and flaunt disciplinary matters that I have done. I find it's inconsequential as a police commissioner, my responsibility is to build capacity among my men, to train them, to vet them, to get them ready to be constructive members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force.
What is your responsibility to us, the people?
It's not my goal.
What is your responsibility to us? What is your responsibility to us, the people, when apparently citizens' rights may be trampled on, and you, as the gatekeeper, must address us, as in this? I love your explanation to this, but I want you to speak of the public for which I represent.
Like I was saying, my responsibility is to build that capacity to ensure that we have a better Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Of course, discipline is a part of it, but in my opinion, discipline should be more private and intimate rather than being a part of the grapevine and gossip. Yeah.
No, that was the final question, Dale. Reggie has a question now. So
I'll take the final question from Dale. I'll take the final question.
My final question is for the Permanent Secretary. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today. Yes. Permanent Secretary, I want you to explain to St. Lucia whether there is a performance-based financing approach to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force at present.
Performance-based finance approach to the St. Lucia Police Force. Yes and no. In terms of the performance of the Ministry of National Security, it's no longer just the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, it's the Ministry of National Security. We were formerly subsumed under the Department of Home Affairs and National Security. In April last year, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force was dissected from that ministry, and a new ministry was created called the Ministry of National Security. And in terms of a finance management approach, I said yes and no, because based on the performance of the ministry, obviously, every year we prepare a budget submission to the Minister of Finance and the Department of Finance. And a lot of emphasis is placed on the implementation of our projects and our budget based on the amounts of every financial year. And I have to say, last year, the Ministry of National Security received an award for the top performer for the budget implementation process, right? And in the next week or so, we will be presenting our budget submission to the Minister of Finance. And obviously, we have done very, very well in terms of executing our budget, which is approximately now about $100 million annually.
No, but no.
Yes.
So, but the question isn't. The question isn't, Commissioner. Why do you invite? Why, Reggie? Forgive me, Papi. Forgive me, Reggie. You'll get a moment. Ma'am, I'd like to just ask you two follow-up questions on that. Thank you so much for that explanation. Out of the various departments that your ministry represents, yes, Commissioner. Do forgive me, Commissioner. I don't come very often, and these are just two questions. I want to complete a story. No problem, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good day, sir. I'm Reginald Andrew, voice publicist. I know you like that. You like that sound. You like the sound of that voice. Okay, yes, Commissioner, you said lately you have been pursuing some cold cases. I know this is a priority, not just for you, but for the public. A lot of families have been affected, their loved ones. And you spoke in particular about the Deleo and the Shaka Daniel case. With regards to the Shaka Daniel case, you said you have an expert who would go next weekend, who going through the motion, and, to assess the case. But it's been 12 years. It's a young man who lost his life, and his family has been impacted. I know the civil matter has been dealt with. I spoke to the father before he passed away, and that has not been expedited. But in terms of the criminal aspect of it, what I want to know is, I've mentioned this before, are the suspects in this case still on duty? in your assessments or in your investigations, will they be performing their duty, or will they be on suspension? What has been the status over this 12-year period? What has been the status with the suspects in this case? Because I know one of them tried to elope, tried to leave the island, and he was sent back to St. Lucia. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been clarified. Can you give us at least a breakdown as to what has been the status with the suspects involved in this case so far?
Mr. Reggie, I'm not too sure that your information is accurate. In regards to the Shakadan Daniel matter, we are going through a process of elimination. As a result, the investigation is not at a stage where there are suspects. There are persons that the police had interest in securing statements from them. These statements are within the conduct of the file. Everybody who have given statements are currently, presently, persons who are associated with the organization are presently officers on duty at the various police stations. In regards to the civil matter, I'm not too sure if your information is correct, because I am aware that that is not the case. You said that a civil matter has concluded? No, Reggie, we have to get, when we saying things, we have to say the proper things, the responsible things. I think let us deal with that matter when we have the correct information. All right? Because in regards to the civil challenge that we have, I am aware that I have just presented, something in regards to that, but I'm not sure that that has reached that level as yet, my brother. No closure in the matter so far. Okay? Yeah. My brother, I'm saying, and we have to use the correct language. We have an investigation, and during the course of investigation, we want to find out the facts. That is what every investigation is designed to do. An investigation is not designed to do anything but elicit the facts. During the course of eliciting the facts, at various stages, you would have different persons that you are interested in. Some of them will translate into suspects. Some of them may be victims. Some of them may be complainants, for example, and some of them can be witnesses. You understand what I mean? Now, some people can translate from, in some cases, witnesses to a suspect or to a defendant. But you must first collate that investigation, put everything together in the context of the investigation that you have. I spoke of the noose on the last occasion. We have the evidence. I spoke of sending it to the lab. After I've sent it to the lab will do their thing. We took the non-intimate samples, which we would compare with the noose. We brought in an independent pathologist, again to get a second opinion. And that is where we are with presenting the facts. And that's a difficult thing in the context of St. Lucia. In St. Lucia, the rumor is nice, but nobody is interested. You hardly find persons who are interested in the facts. So these are the facts in the Shakadan matter, my brother.
We'll bring some within the next week with the specialist pathologist, you'd bring some more clarity to this matter.
The country is dispensing 10,000 US dollars. I have not even made the announcement to my peers yet. 10,000 US dollars to bring in the expert, okay, to give us a second opinion. In regards to the sampling, we are spending 12,000 to do the DNA analysis. You understand? But we will not stop at anything. Not even dolances, my brother, under my command, to try to bring closer to these matters. There'll be no excuses. So when the case develops, it will develop with all the facts, scientifically and otherwise, so that we will make a categorical case submission to the office of the DPP, who will invite us as what to do next. You understand what I'm saying? All right? Now, I want to tell the people of St. Lucia that this matter is not only, this approach is not only in regards to Shakad and Daniel. My brother, the PS told you a while ago that the budget of the police has increased to about $117 million for next year, right? Because we have 16 million in recurrent, 16.9 million in recurrent expenditure, not recurrent, sorry, capital expenditure, and about almost 99,000 in recurrent expenditure. This is what the government is trying to invest, right? For us to get quality service in the RSLPF for the persons in St. Lucia. And that is only one leg of the justice system. I think we're on the right path, my brother. You understand what I mean? So we are going to spend what we have to spend to ensure that people get justice. I think just a few days ago, they made the announcement of the interim court by the, what HTS used, the landmark, that particular landmark at Vidbouteille. We are doing the halls of justice. We are doing the new police high command. I think we're in the process of trying to decide on the current structure. We're doing the Grosley headquarters. Ancillary police station will also be under construction, but of course to facilitate the current crime situation, we have done interim station there. We have completed the Vieux-Fort police station. We have a state-of-the-art police management system that is actually live. Very, very heavy investments in law and order. And that is to say that we have a nice hold on the rank and file and the management of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Okay, my brother?
Jerry?
Good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner. Jeremiah Joseph from HTS. Mr. Commissioner, last week, Minister Ernest Hille made some comments regarding the police in relation to his being charged. What can you tell us about this incident? Where are we right now with this?
I think every reporter has understood that when a matter is being adjudicated by a magistrate or a judge, there are certain things that you should not say in regards to the matter. The matter was, I think, a matter of complaint without oath, where it has gone to the court. there has not been any kind of interference in my office in regards to that. And I think this is what the justice system is about. The justice system, which for me, it's for Jerry, Dale, it's for you too? It's for you, right? It's for Dale, it's for all of the officers under my command. The justice system is for everyone.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm not talking about
I am a commissioner of police that work within the rubric of the Constitution of St. Lucia. I know my duties very well. There will be no undue influence on my office in any way, shape, or form. I will do the right thing to ensure that the justice system works well. Then I know the follow-up question. The follow-up question is, I will answer it like that, Jerry. As a people, we have spent more than 500 years to gain some rights. We have the right to liberty. We have the right to freedom of choices. We have the right to own property. We have the right, in terms of criminal cases, to remain silent without such silence being a consideration of our guilt or innocence. And likewise, we have a right to an opinion. And this is something, as a commissioner of police, that I will support. I will support every St. Lucian, whether the person is on Jabati Street or Orange Grove Plaza, to have their right to their opinion. And that is how I am going to answer this matter. Because the right of an opinion is for me also. Everybody has a right to their opinion.
Commissioner, it's not about your right of opinion. I want to know, because the minister seems to indicate that there are political interference within the police force, and for some reason that the command is not being proper. So we want to know, is there political interference within the police force?
Jeremiah, for 500 years, we as a people have fought to have certain rights. There were times, unfortunately, among us, there was even, slavery. That is no longer. We have to ensure that the rubric of the Constitution of St. Lucia and any other Commonwealth Constitution, that we must preserve and protect this right. And that's the kind of person that I am. I believe that everybody have to have that opportunity to express their rights. So if somebody wants to express an opinion, that is not a problem. Let the persons express their opinion, and that's the problem sometimes I have in St. Lucia. And that is a part, Jerry, of the issue we have with offenses. We have to give persons a right to express themselves. At the Bodley Correctional Institution, I could remember Lyndon Blass. He's a former resident of the institution. He's now out. When I went to my regular interviews with the residents on a Wednesday, he said, Mr. Gad, they have tension in the place. Do something so that the fellas can express themselves. I tell him, Lyndon, what do you think I should do? He said, well, do calypso, do poetry, do something. I did all of them. I gave the residents an opportunity to come out in poetry to express their opinions. That is something as a people that we should encourage. Now, Jerry, if you don't understand that, okay, It's your right not to understand it, man.
But sir, are you investigating the incident? Because the minister seems
Which
to
incident?
within the rank where the minister did indicate that an officer who is did not report to the high command made a report and brought a case directly to the DPP without even your knowledge. Are you investigating this incident, or is there any part to play in it?
Jerry, that's a different question, man. When you take the question, you have to take it in a number of parts. You understand? Now, that part of the that part of the thing I could answer. The job of the commissioner is that of planning and policy, management of staff, and it's hardly operational. The crimes are designed in various schedules, and in the criminal code, we have matters that some of them are of indictable nature, and some of them, you're bringing me right back to training school. Some of them are summary. Okay? So some of the indictable matters, for example, matters that, accrue a penalty of more than 2 years. These matters go to the High Court. And as a result, they go to the High Court in a particular channel. I said to you earlier on, for this year, we've had 13,009 accepted offenses. Part of that 13,000, there you're asking me the question and you forget about me, man. Part of that 14,000 are indictable matters, and part of that 14,000 are summary matters. You understand? Traditionally, the summary matters are lodged differently from the matters of those that are indictable. Let me give you an example. If an officer is working in the Marigo police station, for example, okay? That officer would traditionally, on a summary matter, do one of two things: either arrest and charge or go via complaint. If the officer goes via complaint, the officer would submit the file to his supervising officer. The supervising officer would write on the file and eventually send the matter either to the court or for us to deal with some lines of inquiry. You get me? So these are not matters that traditionally go, to the office of the commissioner. You understand? So that is the case in that matter. 13,009 cases, not one or two. All right? Let me try to explain it better. Let's say I had 13 months in the police organization as a commissioner. Every month it would have been 1,000 cases.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I understand. On a different matter, recently we just...
Jerry, that's your fourth question.
That's the last question. Last question. We understand they had a homicide with a British national. What can you tell us about this?
You came late, Jerry? You'll do a one-on-one with... Yeah, you'll do a one-on-one with Mr. Henry. Okay? Yeah. Well, let me take this opportunity to thank... Yes, ma'am?
Good morning. I have two questions. My first one is for the PS. Over the past few weeks, the PWA has been very vocal on a number of issues. One of the more prominent ones would be the insurance payment. So my question is, can you walk us through what the issue was and where we are now with the police insurance payments?
I want to touch on that question before you, yes? No problem. I want to say that from the time I took office, I've invited the Police Welfare Association to come to me on any matter. I provided a schedule of dates for the Welfare Association to sit with me to discuss matters concerning police welfare. And I found it to be honest with you, very bizarre that the avenue for grievances is now straight to the media without giving my office, the office as Commissioner of Police, who actually is the Chief Welfare Officer of the police force, the opportunity to deal with and manage the issue of payment or non-payment to any obligation that the welfare have. I want to say that it is not right to play out matters of police welfare in that way at all. Welfare office is not far from mine. We have the opportunity to have a conversation. Anytime the welfare has called on me, I have provided myself to the welfare. And I think that circumstance was a very unfortunate one. I think Cameron Law is somebody that I respect a lot. He's my personal friend. But in regards to that, the way Mr. Law is going to play out the communication between Commissioner and the PWA, I am not happy about it. I am not happy about it, and I don't like it. Okay? Yes, I was, yes. Take your mic so it will. I was, yeah.
These newspapers, Mr. Guard, where you, being the president of the welfare, did not go to the Commissioner of Police on more than one occasion, Mr. Guard. The same thing you are accusing Mr. Law of, you were quite guilty of it back in your times when you were president. But you need not answer that.
No,
I just want to set the record straight.
I know you have not responded, but it's okay. Mr. Elliott, I am a very organized and systematic individual, and have been so throughout my career. I have breached no lines of command and control in any of my duties. Whilst being a member of the police welfare, especially as president, the welfare office was handed over to me in a box. I am the one. Listen, why are you not listening? We're going down the street. I am the one who set up the Police Welfare Association Secretariat. And the secretariat was set out for us to go through the proper channel to bring grievances to the High Command and the Commissioner of the police force. And that is well documented. So I think it is not correct of you to say what you have just said there before, because that is untrue. And you could go down the road if you want. All right? Now let the PS answer your wonderful question, my lady. Yes, PS.
Okay, so, ma'am, to answer your question, I can assure you that there was no issue as it relates to the payment of the insurance for the...
You have to say that over. Yes.
Okay, no problem. Okay, to answer your question, ma'am, I can assure you that there was no issue, there is no issue, and there will never be an issue with the payments towards the policy for the personal accident plan on behalf of the members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I must say, and I must state clearly, that the policy is in the name of the Police Welfare Association. Therefore, all invoices are forwarded to the Police Welfare Association. When those invoices are received by my office, the payments are made promptly because we have budgetary provisions for the insurance. Okay? As it stands today, every single premium for this year is paid. Okay? All the premiums are paid in full. And I know throughout the media there was a lot of talk about the government refusing to make the payments. Okay? This is obviously untrue. And it's really, really sad that that would have been said, because I called a meeting in my office with the welfare and representatives from the insurance company a few weeks ago. And at that meeting, it was admitted that we did not receive the invoices. We received the invoices, the outstanding invoices, that same afternoon, and they were paid on the same day. As we speak today, October has already been paid. Okay? Thank you.
As I said, I really do not like matters of welfare playing itself out in the media. That's not right. Okay, we have the opportunity to go through the proper channel. Let's go through the proper channel. Then after you've exhausted going through the channel, you've exhausted it, that is where you could take the grievance to the level that you need to take the grievance. Okay?
I realized that I did not introduce myself on my media house, so I'm going to correct that. My name is Miriam Monsoud with DBS Television. My second and I guess final question. Where are we with the Officer Tyson investigation? The last time we met her, I believe that there was another toxology.
So further testing is being arranged. Yeah, so further testing is being arranged for that matter. So when the results are received, then reports will be given.
For that report?
I cannot give you a timeline because there'll be testing, additional testing for at least 3 or 4 other let me see, how do I term it? 3 or 4 other tests, and each test takes about 2 weeks to get a result. So I don't want to tell you 3 weeks and then we don't have it in time. But when we do get the results, you will get a report.
Thank you, members of the media, for your questions. I'll now hand over to Commissioner.
We have one more question for the PS. We've been asking for the longest while. Just that final question.
I want to
just to the PS.
I want to thank the people of St. Lucia for the support that they've given the Royal St. Lucia Police Force for the period under review. Without your help, we would not be able to achieve the current 18% reduction that we have in overall crime. The current 38% that we have seen in burglaries, the current 36% that we have seen in robberies, the current 24% that we have seen in sexual crimes, the current 8% we have seen decrease in homicides, is a testament to the community policing initiative that we've instituted in or around November last year, where we get that support from the public. The police force want to again thank the public and thank the members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I want to also thank the media, because the media is the #1 conduit for getting the information out to the public. I also want to say to the media that we all can take a little bit from Mr. Elliott. Okay? Mr. Elliott, in my opinion, is a pristine example of someone who cares about the truth. He represents the truth properly. His investigations sometimes go on for years. And this is what we want to see in regards to reporting in St. Lucia. Some of the media houses have to lend a little bit in that direction. I remember the days of people like Rick Wayne, Christian Labby, and the rest, right? Where these reporters would sit down in the courthouse and with their pen and their paper and bring out the facts in matters and publish them on the Star, on the Crusader, on the Voice. And I had an appetite to read these events. Right now, I find you as a gentleman, you're doing the same thing, but in video. And I commend you on that. I wanted to end with that. So thank you very much.